Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome to my channel, The Blind Eternity, where today I'm going to be bringing you a complete set review of Core Set 2021, where we'll be going over every single card from the new set, reprints, new cards, and kind of talk about the potential applications thereof for each of those cards. So, since this is going to probably take a while, let's hop right into it, and we're going to start with white. And just as a disclaimer, if there are artifacts that have a colored mana symbol in the casting cost, they will be covered in that casting cost's color, if that makes sense. So if there's a white artifact, I will be talking about it in this set. So if you're watching this out of order and you missed, me talking about a certain artifact, it's probably here, so don't worry about it too much. But again, without further ado, let's get started with the white cards. We have Alpine Watchdog. 2 mana, 1 and a white for a 2/2 Vigilance. It's your filler bear card for limited. I believe this is a card that goes along with a multicolor card we'll be talking about in that video. So I believe it's paired up with one of those cards. So again, in that deck, either in limited or being sealed or draft, probably pretty good in that deck. Otherwise, just kind of filler. It's a vanilla bear with Vigilance. So not a whole lot to talk about here. Next, we have Angelic Ascension. It's a 2 mana, 1 and a white instant. Exile target creature or planeswalker. Its controller creates a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying. Wow. What can we say about this? Besides, I think this card's very good. I think this card is going to be pretty good premium removal in the upcoming standard. Maybe a little bit in Pioneer, because this is going to be Pioneer's, I believe, first instant speed exile effect in white for single target removal. Of course, there's like Settle the Wreckage and things of that nature. But the next best card at this price range is Declaration in Stone, which gives them an artifact that allows them to draw cards. So in the card advantage race, that's really not what you want to be doing. And I think giving them a 4/4 token that you can then bounce with maybe T3 Fairy, the 3 mana to Fairy, or any of those, any bounce effect, honestly, is very good. And it removes a Planeswalker, not only a creature. So this is going to be, I think, premium removal moving forward. Anointed Chorister? Sure. It's a 1 mana 1/1 lifelink that gets +3/+3 if you pay 4 and a white. Again, not going to do anything in constructed, but I believe this is just pretty good for limited in your white decks. It's got a mana sink, which is why these cards are have some value. As maybe like your 20th or 23rd card when you're making cuts. So that's where this is going to live. Probably no Popper. This probably isn't good enough for Popper either. So, yeah. Aven Gaggle Master. Hey, Gaggle. Alright, so it is a 5 mana 4/3 flyer. When Aven Gaggle Master enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life for each creature you control with flying. Again, for constructed purposes, this is just not what you want to be spending 5 mana on. We'll be talking about a card you want to spend 5 mana on here pretty soon. But for your limited like blue-white flyers deck, this is great. This is, probably not like pack one, pick one material, but this is definitely a card you want to have and you want to see in your limited decks. And here we are. Here is Big Mama Baneslayer Angel. 5 mana, 5/5, flying, first strike, lifelink, protection from demons and dragons. So This is the 5 mana flyer that you want to be spending 5 mana on in standard. It definitely is coming back. Glad to see it back, honestly. This kind of card is just a welcome sight back in standard for sure. Really glad to see this. Viserys Acolyte is our white planeswalker for this set. So Viserys Acolyte is 3 mana for a 3 loyalty planeswalker. +1. Put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature. It gains indestructible until end of turn. -2. Whenever 1 or more non-token creatures attack this turn, create that many 1/1 white soldier creature tokens that are tapped and attacking. And the -6, that big ultimate, you get an emblem with at the beginning of combat on your turn. Create a 1/1 white soldier creature token, then put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Always as a rule of thumb with a planeswalker, you never really want to try to assess it at its face value for the ultimate. A lot of times in constructed, you're not going to be getting that ultimate off. And you're going to usually use its plus and minus or its first 2 abilities when talking about mythic or rare planeswalkers. So +1, nice, very good, very clean, very simple. The -2 is the big game here for me. The -2, so again, whenever 1 or more non-token creatures attack this turn, you make that many 1/1 white soldier creatures tokens that are tapped and attacking. So for me, this card goes great with Winota from Ikoria, as it only makes soldiers, not human soldiers. So these will trigger Winota. These will, kind of have that nice little bit of synergy with Winota. So I think in standard, this is great. I don't know that it has a home. Maybe in Pioneer. Modern, this is probably not that big of an effect. There's not really too much of a white weenie deck unless this finds a home in like humans. But I don't foresee it happening anytime soon. Viserys Acolyte, 4 mana 2/3 with lifelink. When it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on of each of up to 2 other target creatures you control. Okay, so again, this is just good limited card. Pretty strong, honestly. Does require a little bit of setup to get the maximum value out of this, because you do have to target 2 other creatures. You can't put the counter on this creature. But at that rate, you're getting 4 power and 5 toughness added to the board for 4 mana, which is a pretty strong rate. 2 and 3 of it being on a 2/3 lifelinker. Limited. I mean, not constructed anytime soon. Viserys Lieutenant. Okay, so let's break down this wall of text. 4 mana, 3/4. Human Knight. Vigilance, protection from multicolored. When Viserys Lieutenant enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Whenever Viserys Lieutenant or another creature you control dies, if it had a +1/+1 counter on it, create a 2/2 white knight token with Vigilance. So again, we're looking at a card here that seems to follow some of the more recent trends with cards from these sets, where they're good, they're very good. Honestly, up until like you could honestly just have this as a 3 mana or 4 mana 3/4 with Vigilance, protection from multicolored, enters the battlefield, put a counter on something. Like, that'd be good. That'd be very good, honestly. But you get this added effect, and it just seems like That's kind of where Magic's design philosophy has gone, where they're just adding additional cards or additional text to cards, and it's just pushing these cards over the edge. Now, do I think this is a slam dunk in constructed? I don't know. I think it has all the right words, and generally I like to say if there's not enough room for flavor text, it's probably got a home somewhere. I just don't know the home yet. I guess if there is some sort of white weenie / white aggro deck, this might be your top end. Other than that, I don't see it happening soon. Viserys, I'm gonna butcher that every time. Viserys Solidarity. Viserys Solidarity is a 2-mana sorcery that puts a counter on each creature you control. Cut, clean, awesome. Played in all your limited decks. Not constructed. Celestial Enforcer, 3 mana, 2/3 human cleric, 1 and a white. Tap this, and then tap target creature. Activate this ability if you control a creature with flying. Meh. Like, I don't know. I feel like we've gone a long ways, like far away from Gideon's Lawkeeper and those other tappers. I mean, that doesn't mean you don't play this card if it's in your limited pool. And if you're kind of scrounging around for your 22nd or 23rd playable. But beyond that, no, don't. Definitely, again, without saying not constructor playable. Concordia Pegasus, 2 mana, 1/3 flyer. That's all I'm going to say about that. Alright, this card's got me kind of excited to be real with you. Containment Priest. It's a 2 mana, 2/2 flash. If a non-token creature would enter the battlefield and it wasn't cast, exile it instead. So this card, unfortunately, is kind of late, right? So, which kind of seems to be how set design has been lately. We kind of get cards that answer these problems kind of a little late. So with Containment Priest, its main, thing it could have been stopping was, companions from being cast from the companion area. This is gonna stop like Luca decks from just windmill slamming something onto the battlefield from there. It's gonna have a lot of application. Maybe I definitely think this is gonna see some play. It goes without saying in standard, if nothing else, but in sideboard decks, because this is gonna be very good against Noda. Daybreak Charger, 2 mana, 3/1. When it enters the battlefield, target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Hey, it's a unicorn, so I mean that's kind of cool. But again, not anywhere in constructed, and playable and limited. White aggro decks. That's all I really have to say about this card. Defiant Strike, 1 mana, instant. Target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn, and then draw a card. So this card, again, very good. This is just your classic combat trick. Play it in limited. If there's an aggro deck in standard that can take advantage of it, this might see some play. It might see play with Feather if a Feather deck kind of pops up towards the end of the standard, but I don't see much beyond that, to be honest. Dub coming back from, I believe, Dominaria. So this is a 3 mana aura that enchants a creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2, has first strike, and is a knight in addition to its other types. Unfortunately, I don't think knights is much of a big deal now as it was kind of towards the tail end of that standard environment. But I mean, there are some enchantment synergies that you can maybe take advantage of. I don't think this is going to see play in constructed though. And it's it's an aura, so I mean you want to be careful with that in limited, as you know the 2-for-1s are the fill bads, if you catch my drift. But yeah, it's cool. I like the card. The flavor's kind of cool. Yeah, dubbing someone, so that's pretty sweet. Face Fetters. This card's dope. I'm actually really glad to see this get a reprint. 4 mana aura, enchant permanent. That's kind of cool, right? So when Faith Fetters enters the battlefield, you gain 4 life. Enchant a permanent can attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. So this is really cool. Obviously, it's kind of an expensive pacifism, but you get 4 life for paying a little bit more. And it shuts off some, pesky activated abilities. So, big thing is going to be Planeswalkers, right? So, activating their loyalty abilities, they can't use those. And, just any pesky creatures with activated abilities as well. So, I mean, that's going to be big game, I think. I think this might have a decent chance at seeing some constructed play, maybe. In an Enchantress style deck, probably. Like, this would be kind of cool to, like, tuck something under, like, with a Calyx or whatnot. So, maybe. Limited all day. Play every copy of this that you get. It's phenomenal. Falconer Adept. 4 mana, 2/3. Human Soldier. Whenever Falconer Adept attacks, create a 1/1 white bird creature token that's flying, that's tapped and attacking. Again, great limited card. Definitely probably one of the bomb uncommons. If you can keep this thing around and just kind of keep getting in with it, that value of getting the 1/1 bird with evasion is going to be very big. So this is definitely one to try to save if you can. Feet of Resistance. 2 mana instant. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. It gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. So again, for limited, very good kind of combat trick. This is going to get people if they're not expecting it. So game 1, this is a good play. Again, constructed viability, I don't know. I don't really think we're in a constructed environment where something like this is going to see play. But who knows? This is kind of one of those cards that can pop up if the conditions are right. Gail Swooper. 4 mana, 3/2 flying Griffin. When Gail Swooper enters the battlefield, target creature gains flying until end of turn. Limited. This is just quintessential limited. I'm going to, have a nice little ETB. We're going to get something flying. Maybe get in with my, get my big bomb flying for the turn and kind of finish the game that way. Other than that, nothing in constructed. Glorious Anthems coming back. So 3 mana enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+1. Goes without saying, play this in limited if you get it. If you're in the right colors for it, of course. And then I would say this is going to see play in constructed if the conditions are right for, again, an Enchantress style deck, while we have some of the Enchantress effects from Theros Beyond Death. So, which actually, I mean, the decks that pop up from time to time on Magic Arena are green-white, so this is a possibility for that deck for sure. Griffin Airy. It's a 2 mana enchantment that at the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, create a 2/2 white Griffin creature token with flying. I like this card. Again, I think this card has it's a build around me, definitely for limited. If you have enough life gain effects or life link, or have some tricks to gain some life, and this nets you a couple of Griffins, I mean it's definitely done its job at 2 mana. I don't think it's constructed playable, because I just don't see it unless I don't know. This is stretching, but a Bant Enchantress deck with Uro. You know, come in, boom, immediately getting that 3 life, trigger at the end step, get yourself a 2/2. Not. I'm gonna say no to constructed. Officially, no to constructed. Idol of Endurance. This card again is a artifact. I realize that, but since it's a colored artifact, we're gonna continue to talk about these in their color, respectively. So, Idol of Endurance, 3 mana artifact. When it enters the battlefield, exile all creature cards with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard until Idol of Endurance leaves the battlefield. Pay 1 and a white, tap it. Until end of turn, you may cast a creature spell from among the cards exiled with Idol of Endurance without paying the mana cost. This card seems cool. Like, I'm about it. I can't think of a deck that's going to immediately take advantage of this. But, you know, it's definitely cool. It's got all the right things, right? I guess if maybe if like a Luris style deck is still around, I don't know. I feel like the companion change kind of nerfed those cards to the ground, unfortunately. But if there's just a low to the ground white deck, maybe white black deck, that just plays a bunch of 1, 2, and 3 drops, this card's gonna get you some value. It's kind of a Aether Vial for like graveyard stuff that only goes up to 3, so that's kind of cool. I mean, it's definitely limited playable. Like, I'd play this all day long. But constructed, it's a maybe for me. It's a maybe. Legion's Judgment. 3 mana sorcery to store target creature with power 4 or greater. We see effects like this all the time. It's great removal. Played and limited. Nowhere near constructed. Light of Promise. It's a 3 mana enchantment aura. Whenever you gain life, put that many +1/+1 counters on this creature. I believe this card, we saw this card before in the form of Sunbond. So again, meh. I'll have to kind of think about this card for limited in regards to how much we see life gain, life link. You just gaining life, incidental life gain. Obviously, if you can attach this to a creature that has lifelink natively, and it doesn't get killed, you're just gonna build a supermassive creature. But again, I'm always hesitant with auras because, again, 2 for 1 yourself is not where you're trying to be, and not constructed playable at all. Makeshift Battalion, 3 mana 3/2. Whenever Makeshift Battalion and at least 2 other creatures attack, so Battalion, Makeshift Battalion, ha ha ha. Put a +1 counter on Makeshift Battalion. Fine limited card. That's it. Mangar the Diplomat. Okay, we got another white mythic here. Let's bust into this one. Mangar the Diplomat, 4 mana, 2/4 lifelink. Whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you and or planeswalkers you control, draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, draw a card. So this, and it's a 2/4 if I didn't say that. But you can see the card. You can see the card, obviously. So this card, I think, is very good. I'm a big commander player, so this card obviously piques my interest as probably one of the better mono white commanders, period. As it kind of has a cool Edris of Trest kind of ability, and then it also benefits people. You know, it's just got a lot of card draw, which you don't see on white. So if your opponent's playing a lot of spells, kind of popping off, it's going to let you dig, try to get something that's going to help you potentially come back from whatever situation your opponent is presenting you, right? So Commander All-Star, I think this is one of the cards that's going to be a chase for Commander players. This could do something in Constructed, I think, if maybe in the sideboard, if aggro, like if you're facing like this just eats up mono red, right? Like, or any red X aggro deck. So yeah, this is very good, very, very good. And limited, you're gonna play this because it's gonna probably be your mythic that you open. So, Signal, let's go. 9 lives. Okay, this card is awesome. 9 lives, 3 mana enchantment. It's hexproof. If a source would deal damage to you, prevent that damage and put an incarnation counter on 9 lives. Should have been a life counter. Should have been a life counter. That's all I'm gonna say. When there are 9 or more incarnation counters on 9 lives, exile it. When 9 lives leaves the battlefield, you lose the game. So let's obviously, we're not even going to bother talking about the synergy this has with Solemnity, which is like cute at best. You know, there's going to be some crazy brewer in Standard that's going to make this thing happen. Alright, so next card we have is Pack Leader. Pack Leader is a 2-mana 2/2 dog, as they have changed dogs, or hounds to dogs. So it is, again, 2-mana 2/2, so it's got your bear stats. Other dogs you control get +1/+1, so it's a dog lord. Whenever a Pack Leader attacks, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn to dogs you control. Very cool. I don't think dogs are going to be successful as a tribe, at least just off one set. There are a good number of dogs in this set. And throughout Magic's history, of course, there's tons of hounds that have now been eroded to dogs. So, again, in multicolor, we'll be talking about a card that you might want to build a commander deck around. And this card obviously goes right into that deck. So, commander, boom. Like, you got your dog lord. Like, that's awesome. And it's kind of cool because it also has that Tajik preventative damage kind of thing. So it's cool. I like it. Constructed, again, if you hit that critical mass of dogs where this might be playable, then yeah, pop off, dude. Go for it. But I just don't see it happening. And Constructed, maybe down the road if we get, again, a good critical mass of dogs. And unless we have a tribal set that really brings that all together, I don't see it happening. We are in Rambunctious Mutt. Rambunctious Mutt is a 5-mana 3/4. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchantment and an opponent controls. It's a playable dog. You definitely play it in your limited decks, as it's just a Reclamation Sage in white for a little bit more, a little bit bigger. It's a cute dog. Like, that's freaking adorable. And the guy's like, oh no, like, what are you doing? Obviously playable in the commander deck that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But beyond that, I don't see it in Constructed, man. I think we're far beyond this card, unfortunately. Revitalize. Revitalize is a 2-mana instant. You gain 3 life, draw a card. Yeah, cool. Again, filler for limited, nowhere near Constructed unless there's some stupid combo deck that this ends up enabling for some ungodforsaken reason. Runed Halo. Man, it's been a while since we've seen this card, right? 2-mana enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, choose a card name. You have protection from the chosen card name, meaning you can't be targeted, dealt damage, or enchanted by anything with that name. Again, This could see some sideboard play if the conditions are right. This is definitely a sideboard card. Potentially main deckable in a Enchantress style deck for standard. Maybe Devotion and Pioneer. That's kind of pushing it, I think. But this card's cool, man. This card is very cool. Sanctum of Tranquil Light. It's a 1-mana legendary enchantment. Shrine. Shrines are back, baby. What's up? That's awesome. So, pay 5 and a white to tap target creature. Yikes. However, this ability costs 1 less to activate for each shrine you control. So shrines, for those who don't know, are kind of these collection of enchantments that we saw back in Kamigawa block, I believe, where they generally get better the more of them you have. And I believe that other cycle is legendary, if not whatever. So you're going to want to, if you're going to be playing these decks or these cards, you're going to be wanting to play, I would say, for this card to be playable and that effect, man, you almost want this to cost no more than, definitely no more than 3 mana, but 2 mana would be the sweet spot. So we're looking at a 4-color deck minimum, or 3-color deck minimum at least, for each shrine you control. So I guess that also knocks itself down 1. So really it starts out at 4 and a white to activate that ability. It's very steep in my opinion. Very steep. But cool. I'm glad to see Shrines back, and we'll be talking about more as we continue down the old dusty trail here. Seasoned Hollowblade, 2 mana 3/1, discard a card. Seasoned Hollowblade, tap it. It gains indestructible until end of turn. So this is basically a Danto Vanguard 2.0. Instead of paying life, you're discarding a card. And I wouldn't say 2.0. It's like a sidestep. Like it's very similar card, right? So again, limited, play it. I'm sure you're gonna have cards you can pitch, extra lands and whatnot to make it indestructible. And Adanto Vanguard saw some play. So I mean, if this again conditions are right for something like this, if for some reason like the counters shenanigans synergize well, and a free discard outlet is always kind of scary, right? Definitely enables some things. Maybe graveyard shenanigans with this card. I don't know. It's interesting, but I don't think it's going to be a big player in standard for sure. Secure the Scene for 4 and a white for a sorcery. Exile a target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a 1/1 white soldier creature token. Limited removal, nothing else. This card breaks my heart! Anyway, Selfless Savior is a 1-mana dog for a 1/1. Sacrifice Selfless Savior. Another target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. And we're going to read this flavor text because it is going to make me cry. She raised him from an orphaned pup and gave him a life of love. With his last act, he thanked her. Okay. Anyway, this card definitely limited playable. I think it could be played in constructed. I mean, that effect is always good. And if a dog deck comes together and constructed, this is going to be a key card, right? It's a dog. It gives you indestructible. Like, this is very good. With Luris, potentially could be very cool to kind of like bring him back. Sack, give something indestructible like Luris. Play it again on your next turn. Like, maybe that's a stretch. but like it could be cool. Siege Striker is a 3-mana 1/1 with double strike. When Siege Striker attacks, you may tap any number of untapped creatures you control. Siege Striker gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature tapped this way. Meh. Like, sure. I think it could be very good and limited. Nowhere near constructed. That's it. Speaker of the Heavens. It's a 1-mana 1/1 Vigilance lifelink human cleric with tap. Create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying. Condition to be able to do that. Activate this ability only if you have 7. If you have at least 7 life more than your starting life total. And only anytime you could cast a sorcery. So, limited and constructed, that means you have to have at least 27 life. And you can only do it as a sorcery speed. Limited, all-star, bomb. Like, if there's a life gain deck in limited, this is your all-star. This is your snap one, pack one, pick one, let's go. Make you some angels, baby. It's going to be awesome. Constructed, again, we'll see. I don't know. Maybe there's going to be some white-black life-linking kind of thing going on where this card might see some play. It's unfortunate that it can only be done at a sorcery speed, but otherwise it might be way too strong to just kind of spring a 4/4 on your opponent. Who knows? I definitely think this has a place somewhere in constructed. I mean, this seems dope for Soul Sisters in Modern. So, like, maybe. Staunch Shieldmate. 1-mana 1/3. Filler limited garbage. Swift Response. 2-mana instant destroy target tapped creature. Good removal for limited. This card has seen, or a variation of this card has seen constructed play. If blue-white needs, like, if there's not better removal in standard for blue-white decks, this could see some play. But I think there's better removal right now in white, especially the one card that exiles any, like, a creature. Yeah. That one seems good. Tempered Veteran. 2-mana 1/2. Creature Human Knight. Pay a white, tap it, put a +1 counter on target creature with a +1 counter on it already. Pay 4 and 2 white, put a +1 counter on target creature. I would like to see that last ability cost a little less, and that might push it over the edge for me. But in regards to limited, you're going to play this card. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome in your counter decks. That white and tap to put a counter on something that has a counter on it already. Chef's Kiss. That last ability, that's very expensive. I don't think this is going to see constructor play because of it. But maybe. Valorous Steed. Valorous Steed is a 5-mana 3/3 Vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 White Knight creature token with Vigilance. This card was hot in, I think this was in Theros Beyond Death, right? I think that's where this is from. Again, another unicorn, so hashtag unicorns. But yeah, play it in your limited decks. Something's got to be going very wrong and very right in constructive for this to see any sort of play. But again, beyond that, very good unlimited. Vryn Wingmare. So Vryn Wingmare coming back, downshifted to an uncommon to us for a 3-mana 2/1 Flying Pegasus with non-creature spells, costs 1 more to cast. So, cool card. Playable and limited. I mean, it's a 3-mana 2/1 flyer, so that's already a decent rate. Making your opponent's removal spells cost 1 more to cast can be taxing for sure. Hashtag taxes. Let's see. Warded Battlements. 3-mana 0/3 Defender Wall. Attacking creatures you control get +1/+0. Cool. Not constructed playable whatsoever. Playable and limited as a filler card or in a very low to the ground deck where this is like close to your top end. Maybe you have a 4-drop or so. But it's an Anthem, so like it's cool. It's like the common version of a glorious Anthem. So sure, play it in your white aggressive decks. Why not? All right, and that does it for white. So what do you guys think of white? I think it's overall a better, like this is better for white than it has been in the past. A lot of cards that are very, very neat, very white. I think this is a good start at getting white's color identity reestablished. So I'd like to see more of this moving forward. Tell me what you guys think, and I will see you guys in the next video.